What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 2 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Karl Franz Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, we had a nice little start primarily fighting the Empire Secessionists with a little bit of orky action as well against the Cluster-Eye tribe. Now, the interesting aspect of this is that a lot of nearby factions really don't like the fact that we attacked, or well, actually, we started at war with them, that we were fighting the Empire Secessionists. I don't know if they started in an alliance with them or what, but it is looking like it's going to put us into conflict with Paravent. Now, we don't particularly care about that because Paravent here would work as a imperial or a conquered imperial province, though as to whether we want to do that now remains to be seen, as, well, we're kind of busy at the moment. Anyway, it's certainly something that we got to think about. I also noticed that the dwarfs here out of Ziflin also did not particularly like us fighting the secessionists. Now, that one feels a little bit weird. I feel like the Ziflin dwarfs would probably pay heed more to the Emperor than they would some random little secessionist force, but maybe that's just me. Dwarfs' oaths of loyalty and all feels like they wouldn't support the secessionists, but who knows? Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this turn, we're going to start off by moving Mr. Franz out here to Erlach, and I would imagine besieging it. These guys have enough... Yeah, they have enough units, and they'll definitely sally out and attack us. I shouldn't say definitely because the game is promptly going to not let them do it, but we'll build the towers and we should be fine. Frankly, we could attack them in the siege, but let's face it, siege battles are a little bit less interesting. So, next up, we do have enough money to build a tap room. The other thing... let me just see here. Alright. We have the ability to recruit a logistically minded general of the Empire, which is a +4 control, which could fix a lot of control issues. Frankly, that's actually more control than a single tap room would offer. So I think what we'll do is this. We'll start collecting income at Reikland Forest, which is a bonus 450 with a -5. Which ain't crazy, which I'm not crazy for. But anyway, we'll grab this logistically minded Conrad Billings fella, and most likely use him as a recruiter lord. We can also reduce your cost, I presume, by popping you onto that mount. There we go, that's a -70 gold. Making you pretty cheap for an... Let's see, for a +3 and a +4. For a +7 control, your cost is 182 gold per turn. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Might want to actually get a couple of these guys if we can get enough of them, especially while they're cheap in the early game. Now, we do have a little bit of money remaining, and still a little bit of work to do. So first of all, what I would like you guys to do, Dolph Hertwigens, you're going to move into Ubersreich, I think, though, there was this little orky faction here. Now, the good thing about them is that they're currently in a fight with Paravent, thus Paravent likely won't attack us, but I don't like particularly that they're here. Are they at war with... They're also at war with Durthu, who might very well take this place. You know what? I think we're going to leave them alone for now. I think we have other things to do. You are going to transfer everything but the Wardens of the West to Dolph, who will command this army because he has a fairly significant power-up available for the range units via ballistics expert, while you will deliver the Wardens of the West for now to Karl to eventually, you know, transfer that to something else. And we will be using Adelbert von Bogenberg because he, between his trait, which is the artillery trait, Marksman Commander, gives 10% reload for artillery, which can be combined with military heritage artillery for another 15% reload for artillery, and 25, all told, should be pretty decent. Do you get any more out of this? And we get another 10% out of artillery masters, so that's a 35%. Yeah, alrighty. Somebody's going to have a very nice cannon battery. Anyway, we are collecting money from here. What other provinces are we not collecting money out of? So Axbite Pass, we will never collect money out of. Aelhart, I believe, yeah, is -6, so we can't do anything about this, at least until we build that tap room. And then Ubersreich, you can... 50, never mind. Alright, no need to collect that cash then. Dolph, I guess we can use you to heal for a little bit. We're probably going to need you to fight the Skaven once Karl is back around here. I don't like the fact that you're costing us 2,000 gold per turn for this army, but nonetheless you have to heal, and that kind of hasn't changed. I'm under though. I just want to double check. So it's 19 and 5. If we encamp, we are at 20 and 5. So we heal slightly more in encamp stance, even though we do lose slightly more money. How much more money? About 200 gold. Yeah, but then we'll heal faster. But I guess it's not enough of a reason to... Yeah, fine. I'd rather keep the money. Anyway, I think we can freely end the turn now. There is not much that we can build, or at the very least not much we can afford. Maybe a clay pit here at East End. Could have reduced it further, but we're not looking to invest in the place right now. We need to make more money via weaving houses or the industry buildings. Anyway, let's end the turn. Let's see whether Skunk Madeira attacks Karl. Alright, looks like that was a decent call, and the enemy will indeed sally out. They do have a couple of boar boys and more spider riders, which we once again will have to watch out for because of that high damaging lethal poison, though they have limited numbers of actual orcs and primarily gobs, which should work decently well in our favor. I think that's all. Let's go battle 1. Alright, here we go. I love seeing that first volley with the mortars. Anyway, another battle against the orcs. Gotta finish up what we started last episode, and while they do outnumber us, I still think it shouldn't be a problem, though, frankly. Definitely gotta make it a goal for this episode to actually get Karl a full stack, rather than what we've been running around. And yeah, we could just recruit some more stuff, but basically, in the early game, it's the farther you can go without bothering to recruit and instead invest in your super early game economy, the better off you'll eventually be. It's all part of the whole snowballing thing, so yeah, it's there, but we'll still try to max out Karl's stack this episode. And who knows, if we get a Confederation, we could probably make use of that to do so. Anyway, battle's gonna start with some squiggies moving towards us. Sad to see them go down, but the handgunners need practice, especially if some of them will want to evolve eventually into a Null Ironsides or a Hawkland long rifles. I don't actually remember whether these guys can evolve to... Well, I assume that they can, but we'll see. Anyway, the squiggies charge forth. We're going to allow Karl to take the charge because he has barrier and much high... Well, maybe not much higher stats than his personal Imperial Foot. But, oh, speaking of the Imperial Foot, we've got... Wait, we gotta wait until, I believe, turn 15, and then we'll be getting our second unit. So that'll help with getting Karl his full stack. Might even be able to get them up and running this episode. It'd be nice to have a second one, because this unit has been pulling like 3 times its own weight in this particular campaign. Anyway, the squiggies are out, sad to see, because I love the units, and couldn't help myself in Gorbad's campaign to repeatedly use these squigs more than perhaps anybody else. But anyway, the enemies charging in, following those squiggies. Unfortunately for the boar boys, they couldn't take advantage of getting around us, and will get stopped by the pikes, and then probably have to sit there while the Zintler's Reiksguard prepare to charge into their flanks and or rear. Perfect. And between the Reiksguard and the pikes now charging them, I'd wager these boar boys are pretty much done for. Alright, gonna back up our handgunners just a little bit. It's been a little bit difficult to get them their range, and that one of them can fire through the gap in the enemy formations, but we're now going to have to plug that gap to some degree. Now they should still be able to fire here, but the other one does not have that same advantage, so they're gonna reposition. It does look like the AI is doing that thing where they try to push through, despite the fact that the vast majority of its unit is here. They're trying to get around the pikes and into our handguns in the back. Fortunately, we did keep units in reserve, as we've been doing, generally speaking so far, especially considering we got to protect those mortars, and instead those halberdiers will move and hopefully defend the handguns and allow them to fire again. Gobos facing off against pikes all along the main line. Probably some orcs in there as well, but obviously the enemy has more gobs than it does orcs in this particular situation, and regular non-forest gobs at that, which means we should be able to deal with them pretty okay. Even the pikes being tier 1 units, and them being the unshielded pikes rather than the shield and spears. They should still be able to take out a Gabo unit without too much issue. Searing Doom's going to come down. Obviously, we're going to get a lot of work for our wizard in the early game, especially being a gold wizard, which I'll admit is still a pretty darn great option. Generally speaking, I think for Karl, you still probably want to get a life wizard just because Karl has a tendency to get himself into some very dangerous positions and go duel enemy lords and monsters and all that, and sometimes he needs a good old heal. But we'll see. I also do like starting with a fire mage in the Empire, but gold is pretty fantastic as well, even if it makes it a little bit more reminiscent of perhaps Gelt's run. But anyway, the enemy keeps on coming, lots of lots of units interspersed amongst each other now. The balance of power has shifted to about 70% in our favor. As we can see, the left flank here of the enemy has completely collapsed, and while we did take damage on those spikes, we were able to hold the enemy off long enough for the Reichsguard to charge into the rear of the gobs here and then force them to rout, and then of course the Reichsguard immediately peeled away to both chase down enemies and start working their way through any enemy archers that are still around, such that they can no longer fire at us. You got to love the knightly orders of the Empire. They all look pretty darn fantastic, and somebody suggested that, well, we do themed armies for the knightly orders, and we'll certainly give that a shot. We got caravan armies to make, we got knightly order armies to make. Flash various potentially different god armies to make as well. There is that potential. Oh, there are a lot of Empire gods that we could probably devote a army to. And sort of pseudo-Empire gods like Myrmidia and the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Obviously, Myrmidia doesn't have as massive a presence in the Empire as she does in the Southern Realms, but nonetheless, it's one that we could certainly do. But anyway, the balance power shifts 100% in our favor. The last of the enemies can get run down by the Knights and break upon their charge. Lovely to see, as always. We'll be seeing plenty more of the Reichsguard and hopefully other knightly orders soon throughout the campaign. Alrighty, there we go. A very nice fight and a fairly decent bit of money and prestige and reward as well. Of course, we did take damage and it was a close victory, but at the end of the day, most of our units are still fine. Our Reichsguard both did very well, though they are a little bit slower, I think, at I guess chasing down enemy troops than units of a light cav would be, so we could certainly use those Wardens of the West or maybe some Pistoliers in here that we could eventually rank up to Empire Knights, etc., etc. And the mortar did fairly decently as well, considering it was only firing on the range units and engaging in the range shootout for us. Certainly fairly useful. Solid 35k damage on the Gold Wizard, and again, similar sort of damage and kills out of the Imperial Foot, but also great tanking out of them. We're going to take the money because we need every penny we can get right now. Alright, there we go. Court of Night destroyed. I guess it wasn't a mistake after all to peace out with them. Take a little bit of the reputation hit with our friends there, but at the end of the day, it was a free, I think it was 1,000 gold or so, yeah. Oh, hedge wizards can't go on lords, only heroes. Alright, fair enough. And we have a peasant with growth and income from all buildings. It's not that much, but it's probably should be better on this guy, I think. Well, I know what, let's do it right now, because I'm going to forget about it if I don't do it. Let's do Peasant for you, and then Militiaman is recruit cost for infantry units. Just got to remember that we have those. Oh, you've also got another point available. Corruption, I guess we're going to go for Leader of Renown for the recruitment cost. Well, you know what, let's get Inspiring Presence first, because it'll give you a little bit of passive XP per turn. I assume. I'm actually not 100% sure whether it actually applies to that unit. Now, what is this? Montfort. They don't dislike us. They are at war with the Cluster-Eye tribe, which is who we're fighting right now. And they're trespassing, presumably, to get to them. Well, there won't be any need, because we will auto-resolve what remains here. Take a little bit of damage and then occupy the place. Oh, we can return this to Westerland, which I guess gets them back up and running, eh? This is kind of out of our way. You know what? Let's return this to the Elector. I assume this will revive the faction. It will. Let them keep it. Let them keep it. We don't really... we don't really want to hold this right now, unless we were to get into a war with Gisoro, but I think we will not do that right now. Sword of Battle. Not a bad pickup, not necessarily for Karl, since he has Dragon Tooth, but still pretty decent. You are going to go into March Stance now. Actually, that saved us the turn, which is really great. I would like you to go into our own territory, specifically into Schilderheim, wherein we will go through Schilderheim's port, and I want to take out the Skaven at Glimdwaro pretty much immediately, because they're going to be kind of a headache potentially for us, and obviously for Karoberg as well, and we are looking to probably confederate Karoberg relatively soon. Now, Conrad Billings, I was going to use you as Recruiter Lord, and that hasn't changed, but we still need... This won't allow Karl to heal. Should we pay for additional units is the question. You can keep healing, I guess, here before proceeding on to Dukelberg. And especially, I'd like Karl to come down here so we can attack these guys at the same time. I assume that this is one Skaven clan here and then there's another one here, not that all of this is Skaven. I wish I knew, but I don't. So we have Clan Skull... We might actually have to use a hero to identify what's over there, but it is what it is, that's fine. Let's see, we are at positive income here at Tom for now. We should probably still build the tap room, but on the other hand, we can make a little bit of money out of a weaving house. Maybe that's the better way to do it. How much do you cost? Ugh. You don't make us enough money to be worth the cost, I think, right now. Alright, fine. Let's start on the weaving house here, then. Like so. Then we'll go for the hunting camp. A little bit of extra trade. Then... well, there's a little bit expensive right now. You know what we'll do? Let's take a quick look at... Hey, Arguelon. We probably want to be friends with Arguelon. The dwarfs won't like it, I admit this. However, the problem... Ziflin might, well, really dislike us, but anyway. The problem with Arguelon is that Dirthu's kind of a maniac, and I don't want him randomly attacking us, so I'd rather non-aggress with him. Westerland can immediately... Oh, give us a trade agreement. Lovely, we'll do that. Like so. I'm not going to go into a defensive alliance because they're a newly revived faction and they might die. I would, however, think that maybe for the additional XP, we'll start getting some of the alliances with the Imperial provinces. It might draw us into wars, but at the same time, it will give us the XP and it will give us a vision of what the heck is going on out there, so feels appropriate. I don't see armies in this guy's territory right now, but he's not going to have a good time against Malagor. The Beastmen have a tendency to overrun the factions around which they start. But anyway, let's see. We got a little bit more money out of that, so I guess we can build a tap room here, for example. I would like to switch some of these places to Festag to get additional cash as well. These ones are a little bit too expensive, though. What do we have in Elhart again? Alright. Alright, fine. Start with the tap room. Hilariously expensive. And then I guess you're just going to go for the weaving house, then. We could make it into a military province, but at the same time, if we do this... and don't upgrade you immediately, or even you, we can switch you to collect income and then switch you to host Festag. We need every penny again. And then Tom, you're gonna get the tap room next, but since you have decent public order, we don't have to worry about you right now. South Bank, we are going to build a military structure there, so we can't afford to build anything else. Conrad Billings, you are going to continue... Wait. Who's Conrad Billings? Oh, right, he's the recruiter. Slash the public order guy. I meant Adelbert here. You go here. To meet up with Karl at Schilderheim, and I guess we won't be recruiting any additional troops after all. Could recruit some archers, but I don't want to. I guess we could... Wait, can archers be leveled up via Warband? Just out of curiosity. I assume you can go archer into crossbowman into huntsman? I don't really particularly want huntsman right now. We could build a single cheap archer to add to this a little bit. Although Karl's going to be a much more melee-heavy army, he does have a couple of handgunners right now. I know we can deal with that. We can deal with that. It's fine. I'd rather have the cash. End turn. Alrighty, ally begins outpost construction, dwarfen conflict, be at war with Ziflin. Oh wow, they really don't like us now, but that's a very bizarre thing to do. We're not going to go to war with Ziflin. Mission issued, free helmet discord. That'll be a nice pickup, and free treasury if we win 10 battles with a single hero. Certainly achievable. You are not able to reach Dukelberg from here, but I'm willing to bet that if we park you out here, next turn you will be able to. I'd like to at least find out which of these Skaven factions is there, because it will inform us as to whether we can attack them or whether we have to wait for Karl to come around. Again, depending on if this is 2. So that should be happening rather shortly. You, Karl, I would like you to go into March stance.
Pick up the pace. So.
And then you are going to transfer to him at the Wardens of the West, who should thus become cheaper and hit a little bit harder thanks to Karl's ability. You are going to go out at sea, and you can also replenish in neutral territory, which means you're free to land and continue replenishing on the way to Glimdwara. Which, while not being a major threat to us at the current time, I still think that we're going to get a lot of good use out of killing as fast as we can. Can you get Gehenna's Golden Hands? Yes, that will come in very handy against the Skaven. We're going to max it out as fast as we possibly can. Next, we got a little bit of money to spend. Not a lot. I guess another tap room on the way, Tom. Alright, and, well, I guess we can keep the Council of Burgomeisters as long as we are waiting to upgrade the 2 Clothiers, but then switch out of it afterwards. You're in Festag for now, and we'll sort of switch around which Clothiers we upgrade. Ubersreich, we will need to be careful about, but Dolph is nearby, and as soon as we build the Red Moon in with the additional 5 heroes that we get, we should be fine to just to leave it. I don't think these guys will be able to take it, at least not easily. Next up, Diplo. Wargrove of Woe wants to non-aggress with us. That's kind of interesting. Draca does occupy Imperial territory, though, so we're most likely and we have no choice, effectively, other than to get into war with her later on, so I think I'm going to pass on it. Shame as that may be, I would really like the Confederation out of Marienburg, though. We're going to have to really keep an eye on that. Actually, this probably means we shouldn't wipe out the greenskins here at the Black Pit, because they are probably the thing that's weakening Marienburg, and their Confederation will give us a lot of money because they have good provinces. Well, not so much the Wasteland, but Marienburg itself. Anyway, skip, end turn. Alright, another turn. Research A Technologies working on it with decent rewards. And hey, Elspeth has taken Dukelberg. That's great. I'm perfectly fine with that. She can keep it. This allows us to proceed to Grunberg, which will have... Wow. Wait, which Skaven clan are you at war with? Clan Skull, which now has 5 territories, meaning I think we can deduce from that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meaning this is all Skull. I also see Malagor running or flying around. Full stack, gotta be careful about that. Early Beastmen are a bit of an issue, but anyway, this is good for Mr. Dolph. You can start heading through all this territory towards Grunberg, and hopefully Elspeth won't be too upsetty about it. It looks like we won't be needing to invest in Ubersreich, and that's probably a good thing because it's a 2-settlement territory and they never generate as much money as you'd like. Next up, we will want to take a quick look and what we have out here. Archlectors, any new interesting heroes with a particularly interesting trait, another ballistics expert. These guys should probably be picked up in higher... somebody on the Discord told me about this guy, armor pedigree. Yeah, these guys need to be picked up at all costs, at all times. 20 armor and 20 speed is a pretty crazy buff. Granted, you get the aura leadership buff, debuff, but it's kind of insignificant in the sense that past the early game our leadership should be high enough, even on the basic troops, for that to not matter. That's 2 lords, I guess, that we'll want to get on the field right away. Though, admittedly, we already have one of these guys. It's just that in the early game in SFO, it's a lot cheaper to recruit these, and it's probably a good idea. So, what we'll do is we'll recruit the Grandmaster here at the South Bank, then. And yes, it's worth the insane cost, because this is good. And just out of curiosity, so you have Knights of War, Knights Panther, Blazing Sun, White Wolf, Generalist, Knights of the Empire, and then the Reiksguard thing as well. I do like the significant reductions in their costs, which are going to help out. How much is it still 20% for your regular knights? And by regular knights, that includes the Everlasting Light and Stubborn Bulls. And oh, Knights of the Black Rose are included in that as well. Interesting. Yeah, alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, you're gonna serve a decent purpose, so we're going to give you Inspiring Presence, and we can actually probably save points, so just sit like that for now, sir. And, so that you're a little bit cheaper, we'll take... Oh, wait, you can be taken off your horse. Lovely. Alrighty. Deprive the knight of his horse just to save a little bit of cash. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do, folks. Anyway... Oh! Wow, we just moved out here and they managed to take Glimdwaro. Alright, that works decently well for us. We're gonna head to Clan Skull then. A little bit of an annoyance, I admit, but it is what it is. We could actually take the extra turn to grab the Sea Corps here. Who knows, we might get something good. Go here, Karl, then. Oh, okay, go like that. And then Adalbert, you can't help, but you can go here, and then you can start moving this way. Alright, Karl, you'll grab that and then go through Schilderheim. We might take this opportunity to build you some Free Company militia or something in a few turns. Though Conrad is the one that's currently our recruiter, so we might have to switch that up. But anyway, War with the Beards. That's not going to happen right now. Let's see what we've got in terms of Diplo, which we have to check every turn. Karoberg, Military Access and Defensive Alliance. We'll do it. And give us money, of course. He can give us a vision of Kazrak. Alright, ooh. Yes. These guys might not be dead after all. Oh, you know what? We should probably check... maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, assuming that that those guys would die. Hey, look at that! Marienburg ready for the Confed. I guess it was a good idea to move up here with Karl. The main issue, of course, will be the fact that A, the public order will go horrendous again. B, these guys. They're probably going to declare war on us, and it looks like Karl is going to have to wait on dealing with Skull, eh? I'm almost tempted to see... Oh, no, we can't give... Well, we can give these territories to another faction. It might warrant doing so. Might even give them to Elspeth or possibly Talabekland. But anyway, for now, we're going to take this. We can... There's a lot of good territory here that we should probably make use of. Oh, you know what we should also do? We should do this. Defensive Alliance, and then Confed. Why'd I do that? Just to get the extra money. Alright, let's see what we got. We're not currently at... Oh, and give us a bunch of other vision. Now, Lorelorn we don't mind being friendly with, so let's do the trade agreement with them and get the money. Have them hold the magical forests up here. I assume it doesn't count as Empire territory. What, really? This, honestly, kind of like Mugman's Brewery, this shouldn't even be counted as Empire territory, to be perfectly honest. And especially since the Lorelorn Elves have been around here for a long time. Admittedly, they do give you a pretty darn solid, landmark in the Elven Enclave, but it's basically kill these guys to get a bonus relationship with all the other Wood Elves. And the fact is, the Wood Elves out of Lorelorn do treat with the Empire constantly, and I don't know, it feels appropriate to have them there. Anyway, other elves, speaking of, you will go for, I don't know, non-aggression pact, I guess. It's not like we're going to be trespassing specifically in Elftown. At the very least, it feels unlikely. Alright, and let's see what other vision we got of what other factions. Oh, Burning Wind Nomads. I mean, we could do the trade agreement with them. The main issue is they'll most likely be wiped out relatively quickly, but I guess it's free cash for a little while. Alright, lots of diplomacy in the early game, but you know what? Again, that feels appropriate for Karl. Gisoro and Marches of Kuhan. Marches we don't care about. Gisoro we might have to fight, because they're holding a quote-unquote imperial potential province, yeah. Anyway, Fort Sol... Ooh! Fort Solis has a gunsmith. Well, that's lovely. Thank you, guys. You have some archers and some free company. Stay there. Damn, costs 1,300 to recruit some mortars. Ooh, we can recruit war wagons as well for, you know, ludicrous expense, but, where are we here? Do we have a recruitment cost reduction commandment? Alas, we do not. Alright, well for now then you can host Festag because the Confederation debuff is going to continue hurting us. Don't collect the income here, minus 28 due to raiding, probably due to these guys. Alright, well now that we have the port we should be able to land here with Karl instead, which works well for us. Richter von Wolfen. Okay, first of all, we have nobody here as the Elector count, and... income from ports plus 20 all provinces, and key to the Stadsrad gives us, funnily enough, bonuses to... I mean, I suppose the Elector count of Westerland still does give us magic item drop chance. And we can give the key to the Stadsrad to support Lord. And, oh wow. I guess we got a lot of free lords, the dead lords from the Confederation. Also, we get the Bordermen out of this, which is one of the best of the, if not outright the best of the units of the special units. Summon the Elector Cats. I want to press it just once, but anyway, once we can afford it, just because we have to. I guess we'll put Dolph here for now. This doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm just wondering who we're most likely to use, and Dolph is the one currently fighting with our other army, so it seems like he's the one to do it. Alright, Dolph, good for you. And key to the Stadsrad, I'm wondering whether we can transfer that to Conrad Billings.
Yes, my lord.
We can, alright, so... Funnily enough, I think that means we'll need to get another lord, put him into Palisbert, and then, yeah. Alright, host Festag for now. Delete this. We will collect the income here. We'll grab all these extra troops and we'll transfer them to Karl. So you're gonna go here, transfer them real quick. And I guess we'll do the same thing with these guys. Oh, free island. You know what? I think maybe rather than building the mortar... Huh. I think Remnants of Battle is also free stuff. Give it a try. Wait, because it's a Remnants of Battle, right? It's not... You can't have a battle in a Remnants of a Battle. I mean, you can, but I don't think we will. You can do... Fill cargo, it doesn't really matter, because we're probably not keeping you. Trunk of... I was hoping it would give us money, but anyway. We can get maybe some money out of the mysterious island. Go down. Karl is going to need a full army. We're going to have to deal with this rather quickly, and Kazrak is certainly an issue. You have defensive, which is actually not so bad, so we might keep you once we reset. And what about this guy? You have Fearless. Character Zora leadership attribute unbreakable for you. This is kind of atrocious. Pretty useless trait, to be perfectly honest. But it is what it is. I'm gonna double check the decrees. Oh, one of you guys have the decree time of peace. We could potentially get another one of these guys. You need rank 15, though. Probably not a great idea until we get Manorialism, which gives you a +5 Lord Recruit rank, so I guess we'll wait on that. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough, not so bad. Alright, you're good. We will build, ugh. So expensive, but anyway, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Build the Weaving House, we'll forgo saving the extra little bit of cash. And then here, we're uncollecting the income. Don't repair this, I fear that these guys will immediately attack us, so let's delete the shooting, well, it'll provide a little bit of extra garrison. Karl is heading up there, and I guess now, not Billings, I guess Edelbert can actually follow you guys.
Yes.
And then Gavin can follow Dolph? That's probably the way to do it. Alright. Always a decent bit of admin out of the Confeds. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, the public order is dropping everywhere, but that one we fully expected. Huh, you know what? Give the key to the Stadsrad to you. Briefly. Just for additional control, so that we're not losing control here in Altdorf. Tom is now more or less fine. I think we shan't be upgrading the Clothiers, but we can delete you and replace you with a Clothier. And we will actually switch you to Festag for now. Alright, and then Harry out here. You're in Festag, so you're fine. Your growth is minimal, but it's also not super concerning. Ubersreich will not collect income, and yeah, we just need you to be upgraded to tier 2 once we can afford you. Alright, everything else is okay, I think. There's no other armies that I missed, right? That we got out of that? Doesn't look like it. Beautiful. Skip, building, upgrade, damage building. Now we're skipping that one and the turn. And we'll see how long it takes these guys to attack Old North Road. End turn.
not welcome in my court, yet here you are. Friend.
All right, as expected, we have the Corsairs of Spite immediately declare war on us, and that's why I said that, well, that's exactly what would happen, but that's fine. I mean, the idea of fighting Dark Elves in the early game as Empire does tickle me, I don't deny. Don't bother calling your allies to help.
Before me.
And the Black Eye Tribe will do the same thing, again, exactly as we suspected, but, well, I guess we are going to be dealing with them. Gonna have to watch out for the Skaven also declaring war on us, but we'll see. Alrighty, what do we have here? Nordland has come under attack from Skaven in the region of Selzenmund and are appealing to you for military assistance. Will you come to their defense and join them in battle, or leave them to fight off their attackers alone? We could give them 1,000 gold, or we can use 500 prestige for this. I imagine that the battle will give us enough prestige to counteract this immediately, so it's better to use the prestige in the early game, and then the late game it's probably the other way around. Obviously, we will send a military force. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's actually a fairly decent sized force from the enemy. We get 2 Outriders with grenade launchers. Fantastic. I am concerned about the Helpit and the Plague Claws, but it looks like this is a pretty fun fight. I love it. Go. Alright, either I was too late or allied units don't make speeches, I'm not entirely sure. Looks like we're going to be helping the Nordlanders out here, and we'll see how well they do against the encroaching Skaven. Nice to see, and makes the battle relatively simple, at least for me, while our army is coming in as a reinforcement inside the enemy settlement. All we gotta do is wait for the walls to fall, if they do. Though, the AI has a pretty darn solid pile of units up on top of the walls. It's deployed them reasonably well, especially over on this side with the crossbows firing down on all the rats below. A decent bit of damage on those rat ogres, but it looks like they will, however, make it to that wall, or to that gate, rather. And will most likely eventually bring it down. We do have Plague Claw catapults over on, well, sort of also in the center of the siege here, and it looks like they're either going after this tower or going after the units up there. I do wager that they will bring down that wall rather soon. Looks like we have no missile troops deployed over on this side of the map, and thus the rats be climbing. Climbing rats, however, will lose all their vigor, and as we know in SFO, the vigor loss is a huge, huge debuff, and if the AI is smart enough to deploy sufficient halberdiers up there, and they should be able to fight off those rats just fine. What are you doing? Stay near the wall. Oh, the AI is always concerning me. Anyway, looks like the enemy's climbing where the crossbows are, but isn't having too much of a better time of it. Here. Or the opposite of that, rather, is having a bad time of it, because they got shot up by the towers and by the crossbows at the same time. These 2 units will probably achieve nothing. There are a couple more units down there, but they're having a difficult time for themselves as well. Out here, it looks like the enemy lord has made its way up on top of the wall, and it looks like our reinforcements, that's us, have at last arrived on the field, though they're all the way at the citadel, at the final capture point, final key location on the battlefield, which means it's going to take a long time for us to get there. And I'm just now realizing that the AI even has a mortar out here, which is firing up on top of the walls that those poor clan rats just climbed. They're tired, they're climbing, they had to, you know, put in the effort of pulling all those ladders out. And again, probably the last campaign that we'll ever see the ladders in this form. Now, who knows, they might always add them back as like a buildable siege equipment rather than a, you know, auto siege equipment. Though I do still absolutely think that if they want to do this, there are definitely a bunch of units which should be able to climb walls, like spiders. I mean, spiders are the obvious ones, but yeah. Frankly, I'd give zombies the ability to climb walls as well, but who knows. There's a bunch of units that it would be lawful for them to be able to climb, I think. There's also, I suppose, the argument that ghostly units should be able to climb, since you're probably not letting them pass through walls. Admittedly, a lot of walls would be warded against such things, but But anyway, let's see what the battle's looking like. The Bounce Power is already at 80% in our favor. We have yet not done anything so far in our fastest moving units, the Outriders with grenade launchers. Can't wait to build these guys for ourselves. Are heading towards those walls. So it looks like the Nordlanders are no slouches here and are doing pretty darn well. Of course, they do still have, the enemy does still have, rather, those Plague Claw catapults, as well as that Hell Pit Abomination and a unit of Storm Vermin in reserve. Looks like they kept their elites back, which is reasonably smart to have kept them back until the wall was breached. Frankly, they should have probably kept the Rat Ogres and other stuff there as well. And it looks like the enemy has been able to find no purchase up on the wall over on this side of the siege either. The melee troops worked here just as well as the crossbow troops did on the other side of the map, except obviously the crossbow troops destroyed most of the enemy before they climbed, and then these guys just got cut down by the spears, including that enemy lord who may have armor, but not enough armor to deal with the armor-piercing halberds. Alright, rest of the clan rats still climbing, and thus giving opportunity for the pistoliers to shoot them up, and our own units are finally at last looking to get into the action. And hey, our lord made it here as well. Unfortunately, it's an Arch-Elector on a horse, so he can't climb up those walls and start whacking away with his hammers, which is a shame. But it's all good as long as the rats are waiting to get the units up there. They're going to continue taking shots from whatever. Crossbows firing away at those Storm Vermin who are tired. And at 81 armor, bronze shield, they should be pretty decent at not taking a crazy amount of damage from a single unit of crossbows, but it's also going to take them a while to climb. Even Storm Vermin, the elite most of the sort of Skaven infantry, have 120 units. Just slightly lower than the Tier 1 Imperial troops. Anyway, it looks like the enemy elites are getting ready to move on in. Rat Ogres, Clan Rats leading, and then the Storm Vermin and the Hell Pit Abomination actually following through the breach, with, of course, the enemy artillery still providing support. We were able to construct, I believe, 5 of the towers here, but I decided to construct all basic towers. Also kind of interesting that the player, not the AI, gets to at least control where the towers are built, but not able to actually control the AI units. I just find that kind of interesting. And oh wow, the crossbows get absolutely torn to shreds by Rat Ogres. Seeing them sort of belly flop and kill those crossbows kind of makes me want to play Skaven. But anyway, those guys are running away. Bounce power's at about 90% in our favor, or perhaps Nordland's favor. And we do now have Outriders with grenade launchers which have arrived, but I fear that they may not be needed. Going to be a while before our infantry moves. Again, they appeared all the way back here, and they had to go all the way around, and yeah. It just took them a little bit too long. But it's not such a horrific thing in the sense that we appeared at the Citadel, and if the walls had fallen, we could have essentially bunched up around the Citadel and had been able to force the enemy army to have to go through us, our entire army, to do something. Anyway, Outriders with grenade launchers making quick work of at least some of those clan rats. Not the easiest thing, I suppose, to lob a grenade onto a wall like this. Is about half of the miss, but half hitting is more than enough, as obviously the grenades are going to be devastating against poor clan rats. Now Rat Ogres are out, the Hell Pit Abomination still full health, and got Storm Vermin facing off against swords and swords, double swords, versus the enemy armor-piercing halberds. And of course that Hell Pit Abomination support. Tactically, there really isn't much to say, as it looks like our infantry will be too late to arrive to the battle. Our Reiksguard are moving into position to travel through the enemy gate and head directly towards the enemy artillery pieces, and our Outriders are just annoying whatever enemy units they can. Help it is shed about quarter of its HP, or perhaps a fifth. There we go, the Reichsguard have made it through the walls, and I believe one of our units of Outriders have as well, actually have forced a unit of Rat Ogres that were running around to rout. Ooh, we're going to take a few Plague Claw Catapult hits. Contamination upon these guys, that the loss of leadership is kind of irrelevant, because I don't think there's enough range damage to the enemy to be able to capitalize on it. And there we go, we've drawn close. Let's get at least a couple of grenades down to the enemy artillery crews. There we go. And they're not going to take too many of those. It looks like as soon as they start taking the first grenades and the first of the artillery pieces explodes, the enemy army will shatter and the battle will be Nordland's. Or at least it will almost be Nordland's. There is still the Hell Pit Abomination to take care of. It's nearly done for. And hey, our spears have nearly arrived to support. If this had been a field battle, obviously our troops would have been a lot more needed than they were, but lovely to see an AI fight on occasion, well, while we didn't need our troops, if we had, we still had plenty more left in reserve. Alright, there we go. Easy little fight 10. We don't actually get any prestige out of it, but we do get plenty of cash. And it's also interesting occasionally to watch the AI fight the AI, primarily, with minor contributions from us, primarily consisting of the Outriders being incredibly irritating, to the enemy, of course. But otherwise, well done to the AI for defending that. Lovely. Alright, Ally begins post-construction, good for Ally, though we won't need it for long, and Schilderheim has negative growth, which is something of a small annoyance. You, Karl, are going to grab the Sea Corpse in a second, but we got other things to do. You, I'm gonna move down here, we'll need you to, I don't know, shiny boots and fresh recruits, doesn't really matter. Hey, you got money, beautiful. Alrighty, we will have you land here at... I should actually have landed you at Palisbert? I don't know. Just land whatever, I don't care. And then, oh yeah, okay, that's the maximum range you can go. We can still put the archers to use because they can indeed become crossbows. Alright, I see Skaven running around. What I wanted to check was this. Yeah, you guys have no territory. You're not suffering attrition as yet, but we'll still need to deal with you to help these guys out. I'm just looking to see if we can get enough fealty to get these guys immediately confederated, but it looks like that's not possible. Okay, well, we will deal with it nonetheless. Elspeth is moving towards Grunberg. Well, you know what? We wouldn't be able to reach it ourselves anyway, so let's move here. We'll see if she grabs it. If she does, I'm perfectly happy to let her keep it. Kemperbad is unfortunately on the verge of being wiped out, but that's okay. At least it's okay for now. We need to consolidate our territory before we get fancy. Anyway, let's see. Karl, you get a fight, don't you? Actually, we don't know that this is going to be a fight, but we're about to find out. We're about to find out. Yes, approach a carcass, whatever this is. What do we got here? Oh, damn, of course they had to have a freaking rotting leviathan. Those guys are such a hassle to deal with in the early game, and they got such... they're so dang tanky. Lovely to fight the undead as always, though, so we shall do so.
We hunt this day, yet our quarry is neither boar nor deer, no! As Sigmar fought, so shall we. We will become part of the legend, by order of the Grand Theogenist. Show no mercy!
Alrighty, here we go. A little bit of variety in the early game, and the random little island with some vampire coasties will be, will be helpful in getting us some of that variety. Anyway, we're going to have our mortars target to the enemy carronades in a little bit of a shootout that should, in theory, see the carronades win. It looks like they've already knocked out one of the mortars, though unfortunately for them, the Wardens of the West Mounted Yeomen are heading directly towards the carronades, and the artillery crews, while all artillery crews are fragile. The artillery crews of the Vampire Coast are, I suppose, famously fragile. I think deck gunners are the most fragile unit in the game, but I could be wrong. I mean, not counting things like bloated corpses or explodey squigs or super squigs or whatever they're called. Anyway, the enemy is melee are heading towards us. We're going to stop them in their tracks, or at least some of them in their tracks with nice Gehenna's golden hands, heavily damaging them before Karl charges in and leads his Imperial foot into combat against the Zombos. Shouldn't be any trouble at dealing with them. Our Imperial, or our Reichsguard, our Zinkler's Reichsguard, will also loop around a little rock and smash into the handguns. Certainly can't be allowing those guys to fire, as they can dish out a devastating amount of damage. And the other Reichsguard is repeating the same move, except coming out of the trees this time to crash into a line of zombie pirate gunnery mobs, and at the very least tie them up so that they can no longer fire. Karl has found the Vampire Fleet Admiral and has brought her down to, what, 60% of her HP? A couple more hits and should be defeated, as there is a disparity in the duelist quality here between the two types of lords. Of course, our cavalry is running around in the back, though unfortunately at this point our mounted yeomen have taken a little bit of damage. But at the same time, we have been able to pin down that enemy rotting Leviathan, which was the major threat in this particular army. A unit of halberds and a unit of pikes have surrounded it and are attacking it with their anti-large capabilities from all sides, all the while both handgun units are continuing to I don't know, gun it down. What's the word for pincushion, but for gunning? But anyway, yeah, so the Wardens of the West took a fair bit of damage fighting a zombie pirate gunnery mob, but, you know, they're light cav. Once again, you treat mounted yeomen melee calves sort of like doggos. You don't want them in a protracted fight because their defense is low enough that they'll start taking damage against pretty much anything. Not that that's a big deal, mind you. It's still not that much damage. Still more than half of their HP remaining. Unlike everything else in the battle, as the Krabby Boy melts away, as Karl has defeated the enemy lord, and as the last unit on the field, zombie pirate deckhand mob, is surrounded, pinned between a unit of Reichsguard and pikes. They're taking a surprisingly long time to melt away, but all good things must come to an end, even the giant pile of zombies. Alright, there we go, nice little fight, and 1300 money. Yeah, I'd love to heal up, but we can't say no to any cash at this point in time. As usual, great work from the Reichsguard, a little bit of work from the Wardens of the West, though they took damage as well, as they were forced to fight a zombie pirate gunnery mob, and those pistols will dish out damage, as always, and otherwise we did okay. Lovely. Pardon captives. Let's see if we get anything good or useful out of this. Alrighty, Potion of Toughness, never a bad find, and 6,000 treasury, lovely. Alrighty, now, you have that other Trickster Shard, which is also really, really good. And you're not getting all that hurt right now, Karl, so I think we'll forego doing anything with it. What we want to do is move up here as fast as possible. So, Karl, I would like you to go into March stance, or full speed stance, and go through Richter von Wolfen. And I guess, Adelbert, you're going this way then. We will need you to also do stuff. Oh, you're another Von Wolfen. Lots of Von Wolfen running around. What do you do again? Alright, that fearless trait. I mean, I suppose what we could do with you is we could have you follow around as well and level you up, but currently 260 gold per turn might be a little bit more than I'm willing to pay for that. You. Raid. Then you. Reset. Alright, lovely. That's a little bit of a cash saved, and Karl is nearly up to a full stack. Isn't that lovely? Ah, that might mean we don't really need these guys, although, can we turn... No. I was hoping we could turn archers into Free Company militia, but, well, looks like you can. In fact, you can't trade anything or turn in anything to a Free Company militia because they're such a basic unit. Fair enough. Alrighty, now, we need to spend our money. We also need to check Diplo. Wargrove of Woe, Gisero, and Marches of Kuran. Everything else looks fine. Corsairs of Spite immediately want peace. Huh. You know what? I think that's fine. We'll peace out with you.
quickly.
Other factions might not like it. We'll redeclare war on them in about 10 turns. The fact is, it's going to take us like 10 turns to get up here anyway, and we have other things to deal with in the meantime. We got to deal with the Black Pit tribe. We got to probably help out with these Skaven, or else they'll retake Glimdwaro. Or do something that we dislike, generally speaking. Anyway, money-wise, we definitely want to build a tap room here. Yeah, oh wow, 2.6. Why is it? Oh, it's because we have marshlands or swamps. We have swamps here. Or marshlands. Or should I say, SIGMARSHlands. I'm not even sorry. Oh, I'm an idiot. Anyway, it's expensive, but we need the bonus control, unfortunately, and you know what? Yeah, it's minus 13. I was about to say we could wait for the construction cost reduction by 20%, but I think we can't afford to wait. We just got to get the tap room up and running immediately. And we'll wait for the rest of this. Yeah. I'm so stupid. You can grab the weaving house. We can forgo saving the 200 gold, but we will wait to upgrade any towns to tier 3 for once we have the continuous production up and running. You're okay. And then you, East End, we can, well, we will upgrade Altdorf again once we're ready. Just gotta make sure that we get ready to do so by switching you to Council of Burgomeisters next turn, though we will take a little bit of a hit for it, but that's fine. And once again, I do like the fact that we have the gunsmith here, so we might be putting that to some use shortly. Can't really do anything about Old North Road for now. And anyway, save the money that we have. Just to double check, though. Oh, Uber's Reich. It's only 2,000. I think we need to upgrade you as fast as we can, because if somebody attacks it, we want the Red Moon Inn to be available there. Helmgart, I'm not willing to invest in right now, and while I am willing to invest in some of these extra weaving houses, not until they're cheaper. Frankly, we'll need them everywhere, so it's better to save for the turn. And then switch. Yeah. Alright, fine. And, oh wow, minus 13 though. I'd really use a quest for Karl to counteract some of this, but anyway, skip building upgrades, skip damage build. Alright, it's that one. Again, you got me again, game. And then I don't care about the outposts and other Imperial territories. They will all be confederated eventually. Alright, well, you're gonna have to hunt some orcs, and you are nowhere near rank 12, but we can get another point in Gehenna's. Guess it's just too good. Skip, and turn. Alright, and oh, minus control. Oh, Lord, I don't think we're gonna do that. Human conflict, leadership minus 10 when fighting against humans. I guess we're not really fighting humans right now, so yeah, I'll take the money, not this. Anyway, Elector greed. When the Emperor's armies march forth, our nobles barter with each other, claiming great swaths of land for themselves. Should the common man, the brave soldier, not have a farmstead on which to retire, they rule. Treasury, we get the money, bribes essentially. And that's just the nature of the game, and I mean the political game in this particular situation. Anyway, ambusher discovered, and caravan arrived. Thank you. The extra money is needed. Neutral Skaven faction destroyed. Clan Septic destroyed. Oh, good job, Karlberg. I guess they technically destroyed themselves, but anyway. Settlement looted Gorcel and settlement lost Gorcel, but that's why we didn't invest in any of the wasteland territories. And yeah, I think due to the super negative public order here, we're going to have to get Conrad Billings out of Schilderheim. Unfortunate as it is, but it's got a tap room, it's got a it's got Festag, and the vineyards are going to be annoying, but this guy with the pretty big amount of public order bonus that he gives, unless we get another one. But it doesn't look like we have one. Alright, we'll take another look, though. Just don't even look at the Huntsman Generals. We'll build some Huntsman General, guys, don't worry. It's just not worth our time right now. You... Yeah, we'll still have a use for you, and you may as well follow and level.
Ready.
Karl. Alright, this is the important thing. You are going to go here. I assume that Drock is going to move to Sulfin, and I also assume that... Huh. It's got a pretty big old pile of units. You know what? Go into March stance, go into Sulfin. I was going to try to go into the ambush stance, but, well, I don't think that's going to fly. I don't think they're going to attack Palisbert, but I'm not willing to risk losing it as it's so critical, so we're going to pop into it. Like so, with you. And then, Edelbert, you can, I guess, land here in Sweden. And Conrad, I guess you're about to follow suit as well. Come here, we need the bonus public order in... I didn't mean thank you to go that far, there you go. We'll need the bonus public order here because it has 3 yellow territories due to those SIGMARShes. Anyway. I also find it amusing that the first Imperial territory, not counting Altdorf or Reikland itself, that we confederated was not in fact an actual Imperial territory because Marienburg is a free city-state. And is ultra-rich because it controls the trade between Bretonia and the Empire. Anyway, Conrad, get out of here. We're at -3 now, but it's not so bad. We can deal. You're more important here. But yeah, first Elector count, not technically an Imperial province. I would say, though, that one counts. Anyway, let's... I was about to say level Karl, but I think he can deal without... He'll deal. He's fine. It's Karl. I'm not super concerned about him. And, oh! Looks like Elspeth went past Grunberg into Kemperbad. Huh. That's quite interesting. You know what? I would like you to go past Grunberg right now. And I have my reasons for this. And the reasons being that Elspeth might go back to it, and if she does, she's welcome to it, as East End is potentially exposed to an attack out of Torpin, and I don't want to risk that. Alrighty, anybody else need to do anything? We are... Oh, okay. So, we have a critical thing to do here. We've been saving the money for this. You are going to switch to, very briefly, Council of Burgomeisters, Altdorf. We won't be able to afford everything everywhere. I would like to upgrade Altdorf to tier 3. But I'm not sure that we can afford it. Maybe hold off. Now this one, yes. No, well... Big ol' loss of control. But nonetheless, you know what? Let's switch everybody. And then we'll build what we can, and then we'll just do what we can, generally speaking. Council of Burgomeisters. And Kleinland, don't collect the income here. I forgot that we got this, to be perfectly honest. In fact, I'm going to say... Let's see... Anybody else needs to switch? No, doesn't look like it. Alright, I'm gonna say we'll give Brickwater to these guys for their money. We're gonna need it. Don't even bother with the defensive alliance. I like so. They can hold it, we don't care about it, we wouldn't have the full province right now anyway. And it still counts as Imperial territory, which I'm reasonably happy with. Ooh, I don't like the fact that this has dropped down to 51. We need to claim more Imperial territories before the Empire, well, everybody freaks out. Skip. Outpost available, save the rest of the money. We have switched all the important territories to construction, as they're the ones that will be making us money. They will lose public order, but we should be okay, I hope. Anyway, Karl, you're probably gonna get attacked. They got a wall, they got an army. Should be fun. And you're in march stance. Should be even more fun. Actually, they have a decent amount of troops here. Let's find out. Alrighty, there's that fealty of Elector count factions, +1 prestige, -1,000. Yeah, it's a different one. You are approached by your sharpest political advisor, who has formulated a plan to increase your standing amongst the other electors. It will involve considerable politicking from you, however, and a great deal of time spent with each and every one of the heads of the other states. Engage in politicking. A little ego fanning never goes amiss. Lovely. And there we go. Construction cost -20%. Recruit an additional lord for 3,000 gold, though I imagine that'll cost about the same to recruit the lord. And we should still pay attention to potential good lords. Like this ballistics expert. Huh? The White Wolf. Okay, interesting. Attribute Strider for the Lord's Army, eh? It's not horrible. I do like Strider, but it's still a terrible lord. Oh, what can you do? Anyway, we might recruit a lord. Though I don't like any of these guys. The ballistics expert is probably the best way to... wait. I wonder if it counts if we recruit a free lord, or does it actually count as recruiting? Like, if we use you, get you back there for a second. That does count. Alright, well, lovely. That's 3,000 gold, because we'll immediately reset you. Goodbye. Oh, I guess I could have just done the other reset. Anyway, we have to go into statish... Ooh. It's gonna take 10 turns, eh? then maybe it's not worth it. I say Imperial University for the +2 control. I don't really care for the Empire captains as heroes, to be perfectly honest, but while we do want state-issued weapons fast, it's still critical to get that. Anyway, surprisingly and foolishly, these guys have decided to defend Gorcel rather than attempt to take Sulfin, which is to their discredit, I guess. Can this little army take Sulfin? Huh, they have a Doom Diver. They really should have kept the Doom Diver with these guys. I doubt it. Anyway, just in case, we're going to pop... And actually, can you reinforce? I think you can. Right, you're going to go right here. Ready. And I guess to guarantee this, we could pop you into Sulfin. I really doubt that this guy's going to even attempt to attack you. Yes, my lord. But just in case. It's not like a few archers would be of too much help in this particular situation, or really any situation. Anyway, do we do the building now? Nah, you know what, let's do the battle. I can't say no to a fight. Anyway, let's do this, Pyrrhic Victory, and got nearly 2 stacks, and while we are not yet in a full stack, we are very near to it, so I think we'll be fine. Before we get started though, because I tend to forget about this, for those unaware, we do an engagement threshold thing on this channel. I know some of you are always hearing those words in horror. Anyway, essentially the engagement will determine the length of episodes going forward, and the length of the campaign. Thorgrim is our current record holder and is going all the way to 60 episodes, and just a massive, fantastic, long campaign. But anyway, if this episode reaches 500 likes and 70 comments, the next episode will be an hour long as well. And if we maintain a streak through the week, we'll do a double episode day on Saturday, at least in the early game. So do keep that in mind. I know it's annoying to mention it, but it's just the way that YouTube works, so one of those things that you gotta do, those little reminders. But anyway, time to fight.
We hunt this day, yet our quarry is neither boar nor deer, no. As Sigmar fought, so shall we. We will become part of the legend. By order of the Grand Theogenist, show no mercy!
Alrighty, I really don't think we needed an order from the Grand Theogenist to show no mercy to greenskins, of all things. But sure, Karl, why not? It's still a great speech. Some notes. Anyway, here we go. Should be a pretty good fight. The enemy has a full-on 2 stacks arrayed against us, and against an early game army that is certainly it's certainly a threat, because Imperial State troops aren't, I don't know, Dwarfen troops or Cathayan troops. They're not going to be able to hold nearly as well due to their middling armor. Let's say low medium armor, and yeah, they're going to be vulnerable. On the bright side, though, we do have a pretty darn good position on this map. We have an artillery piece, which the enemy does not, and thus our artillery should be able to force the enemy to come to us onto this big ol' hill. We have a couple of cliffs protecting, well, maybe not our left flank entirely, but at least a portion of the left flank, which is, if not necessary, at least very, very nice here. But the big old hill is definitely going to give us a pretty big elevation advantage. In terms of our deployment, we have the Imperial foot out front, essentially just forward out of the swordsmen, so that as many units as we can possibly get attack them. We are holding 4 units of melee infantry in reserve, depending on how the enemy reacts to all this. And keep in mind, the enemy has 1, 2, 3... at least 3 pump wagon units in there, and thus we can't really move our cav out because they're going to be really needed here to deal with those darn units of pump wagons. Pump wagons are extremely overpowered for the cost, and especially in the early game. They may not be spiky rollers, but they're still pump wagons, and we gotta be careful about them. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit of area denial, a little bit of damage as well, with Gehenna's Golden Hounds, which serve 2 purposes here, to damage the enemy and to split some of the enemy units up. as they move towards us. Fairly nice charge from those squigs and knocking those swordsmen down, but unfortunately for them, the herd took way too much damage from the handguns and making their way uphill. We're going to counter the enemy's range firepower, the Searing Doom, and between that and Gehenna's, we severely damaged 2 of the enemy archer units, one of which is now routing, but there is still a ton of orc and goblin archers out there, and that is definitely something to be concerned with. The other main concern is that the enemy has brought a bunch of forest goblins to the battle, not just regular goblins, and an SFO. I don't remember if it's the same in vanilla, but forest goblins have that lethal poison on them. And those contact effects can really do a lot of damage, especially to weaker troops like our basic state troops. I'm not going to be resistant to many poisons. Anyway, the Gabos have arrived, the Orcs have arrived, and the battle proper has joined. Going to try to hold them off as best we can, allow our range units to keep firing down upon them. And I suppose every extra second taken is a second that the gold wizard has a chance to get more mana and then get ready to cast another spell. The enemy is pin cushioning us a little bit. The orcs have brought a lot more range capabilities than we have, but the strategy of putting our Imperial Foot out in front of everybody else does seem to have worked fairly well, in the sense that, say, I don't know, 60%, 70% of the enemy range units are all thus focusing on the Imperial Foot, because it was the first unit that they sighted. And since the Imperial Foot have 110 armor and that silver shield, they're going to survive that a lot more than the poor swordsman would. They have problems of their own, of course, as this unit at least is getting overrun. We're going to try to help it out by popping that Gehenna's Golden Hounds and the blob of enemies. And it looks like we did luck out, as the Gehenna's Golden Hounds will move downhill. Though I was ready to send the swordsman running. You never know with those vortexes. Anyway, bounce power is still very slightly in the enemy's favor, so only about 45% in ours, though we have managed to defeat one of the enemy heroes, the Black Orc Big Boss. And we have moved one of our Reiksguard through the army and into the enemy's back line. Our mortar and our limited amount of range troops are not capable of dishing out enough damage to knock out all of the enemy range, and so the Reiksguard should be the ones taking care of it, especially if they can essentially bounce around between the different units of range. They can keep several of them from firing at once. And of course there are 2 units of Reiksguard working around, though one of them is currently busy chasing down a pump wagon. The Wardens of the West can help out as well. And while the Wardens of the West, I believe, are too weak as a light cav unit to fight a unit of Orc Archers, because Orc Archers hit just as hard as Orc Boys do in melee, and have a solid weapon strength, and just have terrible melee defense, they can still fight a unit of Goblin Archers. Though funnily enough, to my recollection, I recall in one of my Kislev campaigns, charging a unit of Kossovite dervishes into a unit of Goblin Archers, and the Kossovite dervishes losing. Though admittedly, I can't remember if it was a unit of Night Goblin Archers, which might have made them a little bit more capable, but yeah. I've been disappointed with Kossovite dervishes ever since. Because even light cav probably shouldn't lose to Goblin Archers. Oh well, Goblin Archer fanatics maybe, but I'm pretty sure they weren't fanatics. But anyway, the battle continues. Bounce of power is at about 60% in our favor now. Fairly long brawl, as we're 8 minutes into the battle, and took the enemy about 2 minutes to move towards us. On the bright side, while we have taken a ton of damage on our infantry, and our Wardens of the West are routing now, and frankly our front line is buckling, the enemy's front line is buckling as well. Almost all of our limited amount of melee units are in very bad shape, but our handguns have been able to fire this entire time down that hill in a pretty great position. It looks like they're just about to get charged by the Orc boys. And if we need to, we can move some of the Reiksguard to help, but them bouncing around between the enemy cav is still paying dividends. In the meantime, the Orc War Boss has been defeated by Karl in the same way that the warm-up of the Black Orc Big Boss was, and the balance of power shifts to about 70% in our favor. Reiksguard still working in the background, having racked up 115 kills, though they're not, and 24,000 damage. And then once again, these guys have been focused less on taking heads and getting kills than distraction, which was so important here. It's not like we have a rocket battery to quickly and efficiently clear out all of those enemy archers. Though it looks like we won't be needing it as the bounce power shifts further in our favor, climbs further in our favor to about 80%, and though pretty much our entire infantry line has shattered with the exception of the Imperial Foot, the enemy's entire army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. Very nice. And this should be one of the last battles wherein we only have the one unit of Imperial Foot. I don't remember what turn it is, but we should be able to recruit another one very, very soon. Nice fight. I'm still surprised that the enemy did stay here, but I'm happy they did. Alrighty, there we are. A pretty darn tough fight. I do really wish that it was on wasn't on a dark map, but nonetheless it was a really, really fun one. Took a fair bit of damage, unsurprisingly, from the enemy forest goblins. Probably the most from forest goblins, generally speaking, because they have that lethal poison on them. They may be weak, but against, well, our own basic tier 1 troops, out of which our army is composed, especially with our lack of artillery, it's unsurprising that they were able to do well. Still, managed to pull it off. Karl got 100 kills and defeated the enemy lord and the Black Orc big boss. The Imperial Foot held the line, nearly 900 damage on our, or 900 kills and 93,000 damage on our Gold Wizard, who was of course very handy with those Searing Dooms and Gehennas. And of course the Reichsguard, 36 and 34k damage, though the non-Regiment of Renown was pretty caught up and bouncing between the enemy range units as much as possible. And frankly, the Wardens of the West were busy doing the same, or at least trying to do the same. Anyway, we immediately... Wait, Westerland owns this. Yeah, but we already own... Yeah, we're not giving it to Westerland. Alright, we'll take this one for ourselves because we already have a decent amount of the province. I don't like the fact that the Corsairs of Spite hold our now, but, well, let's just say they won't hold it forever. Karl got a ferryman and a bailiff for Adalbert. You know what, hold on to it for now. I might give it to the other guy afterwards. Another ferryman, another... Oh, lots of ancillaries. Deathjack's Empire Archers.
Yes, my lord.
We could put them in Karl's army, but we probably won't. Anyway, there's still this little army annoying us, raiding. I'll deal with them as we can. Oh! We can actually move one of you guys out here to maybe build some artillery for us, or some war wagons. Those would be really quite helpful as well, generally speaking. And also, you guys are ready to be upgraded to shielded units, and we do have the money to do so. You guys are going to be a while until you're halberded up. And we will want great swords, which you're going to have to train yourself in order to become great swords. Anyway, I assume that these guys can't... Huh. Oh no, okay, it looked like it was glowing and I was like, wait a second. You could be upgraded into a cannon to rank 5. Transfer that artillery crew, but anyway, we'll deal with that in a bit. You, Conrad Billings, it's critical that you go to Palisbert and sit there and wait. Go here. Okay, it's -5 now. Who has the... Okay, this guy has it. Alright, we're gonna give it to you. There we go. Now, well, let's take a look at Altor for a second. It is at -10. Good lord. Alright, I guess we're gonna not do that then. We're gonna give this back to you, so it's 5 and 5. The bonus 5 control is helping. And what we could do, funnily enough, is get you Iron Disciplinary and then later reset you. But frankly, we're going to have you be leading an army probably by the end of next episode, so... anyway, Elspeth doesn't appear to have moved here as yet, but that doesn't mean that she won't. I think we'll move past Grunberg. Although, See, the thing is, what we could do is we could capture it ourselves and trade it to Elspeth by the... Well, the annoying aspect of this would be declaring war on them, but also it would take all her money, which would be great for us. And the problem is that if we do this, her faction becomes weaker, and we don't necessarily want that. So, Dolph, you're going to proceed here. I'm just going to assume that these guys are not going to immediately kill you, assassinate you, etc. Guess we're going to find out. Alright, now we do have some building to be building. Also, double check that control. Yeah, okay, well, just deal with it. Alright, anyway, Clothier, and Vineyard. And I would like to upgrade Aleheart, but I don't know if we can actually afford it, so we'll wait for a bit. Definitely upgrade the Settlement. It'll take 6 turns, which is a while, and the Clothier, and then switch immediately back to Host Festag. Altdorf, I would like to upgrade the Pottery Maker. Probably a good time to build at least one of the military structures that we want. We could go for... Well, we will want the guns here. We will want the knightly orders here. And we can get the Wizard's Conclave and increase our wizard capacity as well. And I think that's probably what we want to do. So we'll do that. Alrighty, and we'll see if we can afford other stuff. Tom, yes to 3 Clothiers. A little bit of extra money in that hunting lodge, and we do have just enough money to, I think, upgrade at the very least Tom itself, and then switch it back to Host Festag, and then Altdorf itself as well, and then switch back to Host Festag. Not going to upgrade the farm, and frankly, I think we're going to delete it and replace it with another structure. This training field is going to be replaced here and put into a different place. Aleheart, while we can afford technically to upgrade you, now the question is, do we want to? You're not super critical and you'll never generate a lot of money. Most likely you'll be a military province, and most likely we're better off actually investing in this province instead. Stedham is the capital, so maybe we'll upgrade you. And Sulfin... I mean... We have a shooting range here at Gorsel. You know what? We don't need that here. Go for the Weaving House. Yes. And frankly, we'll probably do the same here, though we could get Karl some free company if we wanted to. Anyway, you guys should all be upgraded to spears with shields, although, you know what, maybe we'll wait. It's not like these guys can do anything. They might actually attempt to besiege us, but even if they do, I don't think that'll... Oh, wait, I just realized that there's an issue. I won't heal as much. 12 and 9, 18 and 6. If they were to have another army out here, though I don't see one. No, I think we're okay. They could besiege this and then kill off Adalbert, which would be unfortunate, but I'm willing to risk him. I am not willing to, however, risk his Berserker's Sword or the Ferryman or the Bailiff. We'll give the Bailiff to this guy, Conrad, for the additional public order. And Ferryman we will give to Mr. not Gavin, but I think Dolph, because he needs the movement, frankly. This army's been puttering around here, but that's, I don't know, not a horrible thing in my opinion. And despite the cost of it. Alrighty, now, just to double check, everybody's going back to Host Festag minus you. You can go into Host Festag then. I think we're not going to prioritize upgrading the territory. We got 2 more turns of that disgusting Confederation debuff. Alright, Ubersreich, do we need to build anything here? I mean, it's a single territory and it's going to be one for a while. We could build a cheap field and it's probably not going to be collecting any... Oh, you know what? We'll go for the tap room plus the Red Moon and double up on that control. Alright, fine. Diplomacy check. What do we have here? Still Wargrove of Woe. Sorry, Drake, I'd love to, but we can't.
Who calls?
Continental Exarch, it's still not ready for it. We will do the trade agreement with Karoberg. Hopefully they'll be willing to confed soon. And the rest of this is good. Although I'm not sure that we could handle the public control or the public orderation. Huh. We got a little bit of money out of that. Was there anything else that we could put to good use? Put that money to good use with? It doesn't look like it. So I think we'll forego doing so for now. Save it for upgrading some of Karl's troops.
The nation calls.
I am tempted to get rid of these archers. We'll do so after. Anyway, skip the outpost and turn. Alright, Death Grind is destroyed, which we were expecting, though I don't know who destroyed them. I might have been Durthu and raising it? It's an interesting question, but anyway. Richter von Wolfen ready for duty. Cavalry focus. Hello. Ooh. Wait. We get, well, I guess we're the player. I was just like, wait a second, we get Theodore Bruckner? Well, you know what? I guess we deserve Theodore Bruckner because we don't get any of the other heroes that we should, like Kurt Helborg. How has Kurt Helborg not been added? It's absolute insanity. How did Bruckner get added before Helborg, rather? But anyway, Nuln is known to many as the jewel of the Empire, and not without good reason, as the Empire's industrial as well as cultural heartland. This sprawling city contains many manufactories providing heavy weapons, munitions, and ordnance, in addition to the Imperial Gunnery School, whose role is it to train the Imperial Emperor's artillerists in the way of modern mechanized warfare. There are some, however, who believe that only a fraction of Nuln's potential is currently being exploited. The rulers of the Empire have demanded the development of a new cavalry doctrine, so Theodore Bruckner may join Imperial armies in the field. View this as an opportunity for Nuln to further earn its already well-deserved title of Bastion of the South. So, ensure the following is built livery, and okay, well, we're gonna need to, well, we can build in one of our military provinces. Again, Fort Solace should be a pretty darn good option for this particular thing. Alright, now, Grievous did not run. Good for Grievous. Good for not running. Can we catch him? Maybe. Remains to be seen. I fear that we won't be able to. But we'll give it a shot. I'm just seeing who can move further. He's definitely gonna run. Alright, so you're gonna go here. Hopefully you don't get in Karl's way. We can't really level up Karl, so we're not gonna. And, we can... Let's see. Star Student is at rank 12. It's Tempered Aura that we want. You know what? Start saving the point. You know what? Get one more point in Searing Doom for the cooldown reduction. Maybe Metal Shifting. We're using the mage a lot, to be fair. Alright, how close are you to the horse and Pegasus scale? Rank 16. I want to put the other Trickster Shard on him, but we're not ready for it yet. I don't dislike the Sword of Battle, but obviously Karl is a better option, so we're just going to attack Grievous. Grievous is going to run, presumably. Grievous is not going to run. Huh. Go figure. I wonder why. Oh, really? You're gonna kill off these two units I mean, I guess they do have a Doom Diver. Alright, fine. I won't say no to another fight. Always love seeing Karl in action. Hopefully it's not a dark map. Let's find out.
To arms, men!
Alrighty, here we go. Grievous has a much smaller stack than the dual stack that we fought previously, but between him and his Wa, he has nearly a full stack available. He has a very good position in terms of having a choke point and plenty of impassable terrain in these cliff sides to protect him. And last, he has a Doom Diver, and wait, that wasn't last. And on top of that, we're still heavily damaged from the previous fight, as the enemy did a number on our Imperial line troops. Alrighty, well, we're gonna start the battle off by trying to do our best to take down those Doom Diver catapults. Unfortunately, mortars aren't particularly good at this sort of thing, so we're gonna try to help him out with the Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Just the regular version, not Overcast, as I'm hoping that since the crew can't run and the Gehenna's is directly on top of them, it should be sufficient. Alright, there's another mortar drop, and really? Okay, so the unit has lost 60% of its HP, but all 6 of the Doom Diver catapults are still firing. There's like 3 goblins crewing each one. We've wiped out nearly, well, a huge portion of the crew, but not a single artillery piece. Oh well, what can you do? Unfortunate though it may be, and this frickin' artillery piece is still firing away at us. Lobbing those Doom Divers. Though they're so entertaining, I'm not even mad. And good on the AI, it is using the same set Doom Divers to target the Imperial Foot, which are going to be the biggest threat that we have on the field, other than the Reichsguard. though we do want the enemy range units to target them. So we're going to sit here for at least a few seconds and take some arrows while we move the rest of the army into position, namely over on the left flank, the Zintler's Reiksguard. I still think that the Reiksguard should be given, I don't know, diamond or lance formation. I mean, Bretonnians have been given it. I'm pretty sure Imperial Knights know how to take that formation. Whatever. All good. Anyway, the Reiksguard will quickly move through the Gobos because the Gobos were not our targets, though they took a nice charge. It's the Snotling pump wagons that we want. Again, pump wagons are such a major threat in the, I would say, early game, but frankly, always, that you really want to focus them down because they'll charge through pretty much anything. Otherwise, it's time for our melee troops to join the battle, though it does look like the enemy range troops are focusing down our handgunners, who are pretty darn fragile and quickly drop down to below 20% of their HP. We're going to have to back that one unit off while we hack our way through the Gobs and the Greenskins. Well, I guess they're all Greenskins, the Gobs and the Orcs. Alright, unfortunately our melee troops, damaged though they may have been, quickly overrun the enemy melee. We back off the units of handgunners and are going to reposition them to fire into the enemy flanks. Rather than going after the enemy shaman, as we know that he'd run from Karl rather than attempting to fight him, we're going to send Karl to chase down those darn pump wagons, as we send the Wardens of the West and one of the other units of Reiksguard to try to hunt this thing down as well. And that's exactly why we gotta get rid of them. Sending all those poor troops flying. Looks like our other unit of Reiksguard has closed the distance with the enemy archers, which were well positioned, I admit, to firing down upon us from this tree line and cliff. Solid tactical sort of approach to this battle from the AI, or at least its deployment. Gorbad would be proud, I'm sure, well, minus the fact that the enemy lost. Or at least, well, okay, spoilers, but I think that became pretty clear when their melee line got overrun. Anyway, the balance power shifts to about 90% in our favor, continuing to move our way up the sort of ramp/choke point, hill/choke point. That makes up this battle. The Reiksguard are leading the charge now. Going to drop the occasional spell on the biggest enemy blob we can find, for example here, with a nice overcast Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Super high damaging spell, of course dangerous to our own troops. But while it may kill off at least a couple of the Reiksguard, it's worth it, as it will have dealt massive damage to, I don't know, 2 or 3 of the enemy units, some of the last enemies that we're holding. I did panic a little bit and stopped all of our other troops from moving forward, as didn't want them to run into the Gehenna's Golden Hounds. Frankly, I thought that the enemy army would shatter at this point, but it looks like the Orc Era Boys and one of the returned units of regular boys are still willing to give us a little bit of a fight. Though I'd wager not for too much longer, especially with the Reiksguard poking away at them. And the pikes and whatnot as well. And Karl, of course, leading the charge. Ooh, one last vindictive glare, looks like, from Griebitz, rather. Bounce power's at about 95% in our favor, and just gotta get a few more orc heads down on the ground. And the battle will be ours. Alrighty, and is that it? No, they're still fighting. Huh, okay, well, surprising. I guess it's because our units are so badly damaged from, well, a combination of the previous battle and the start of this fight, that the enemy still thinks it has at least something of a chance. Or maybe they, since they used sneaky stabbing on their orc boys, they really wanted to actually make use of it. Unfortunately, they will not. And with that, the last of the enemy army units will shatter, and the battle will be ours. Lovely. While this faction is not thus destroyed, they will only have one settlement, and I believe we've now taken out both of their armies. And that should mean that we should have no problem at destroying the Black Pit tribe. Alright, you know what, Grievous? That wasn't too bad. I was, well, I was reasonably happy with the fight. I was not happy with how long it took the mortar to take down that Tomb Diver catapult, together with the help of the Gehenna's Golden Hounds, especially considering that basically all the crew were dead, but all 6 artillery pieces were still perfectly in shape, so... Oh, well, what can you do? Anyway, we're obviously going to take the money. We will continue just moving around heavily damaged and hope that Kazrak doesn't randomly show up and kill off our army, which is a distinct possibility. The early game Beastmen are on a different level compared to the, well, outside the pump wagons, orcs. Anyway, pardon captives? Yes. And let's see, oh, we're not catching up to that, are we? We are not. Alright, can you ambush stance? You can. Can you go right here and then pray that this guy tries to attack you and then pray that this ambush succeeds? Alrighty, and you're on a horse now, right? Yes, okay, good. Just wanted to double check. Also, did I get you Inspiring Presence? I did indeed. Alright, so you're fine. Carl's still waiting for that rank 12, but getting closer and closer, saving those points for it. Alright, you guys are good. Adolf Hertwigens, you... good. These guys have taken Grunberg. Meaning you can start moving out here. Okay, apparently you can't cross the stand yet. Alright, fine, just go directly over there. You and Gavin will proceed to attack Torpin, and we'll see. Talabekland, probably not worth confederating considering how damaged... Oh! Actually they are. They've built the Blazing Sun stables at the, at Talabaim. Good for them. Also, just realized that we kept 10 fealty with them. Oh, the Confederation debuff had just run out. You know, I'm just curious. We got 10 on... Yes. Oh. We got 10 on a bunch of them. Including Boris. Okay, well, I'd prefer Boris, but I think what'll happen is it'll essentially offer us one of them, and then... I don't know which one it's going to offer. Boris would be ideal because we could maintain contiguity with the rest of our empire, but with the, well, the empire. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully it's alphabetical, because then Boris would go first. Maybe. Hildebrand Luden. Well, it's probably not by name of the lord. I don't know how. What the. We'll see. We'll see. It's probably by the turn of who moves first and who moves second. I would imagine. Anyway, we got a little bit of cash. Let's spend it. Let's see. Altdorf, you are well. Okay, you're hosting Festags, so there's probably nothing to be built here. And frankly, we just keep it as it is. Good here, and we will. Okay, yeah, we can build up the weaving house here, and frankly, we can probably do the same instead of now. I don't think we're going to be building those for company right now. Then, since Karl can't move anymore, we will upgrade U4 to shielded spears. Well, it's about time. There we go, and then we'll upgrade you to a shielded spear afterwards. You guys will become halberdiers, I guess. Because you have to go through halberdier in order to become greatsword, and obviously Karl wants some, he wants some greatswords in his army since he does buff them. I guess we'll keep them as crossbows and then upgrade them to handguns since we have 3 units of handguns until we replace them with other things, and the mortars are fine, and then we'll send, I guess, you... Now, stay here. You know what? I would actually like you to go to Gorcel. Oh, well. Oh, we got black orcs here. Good. Well, anyway, just stick around here for now. We might need the extra little bit of troops. I don't think so, but let's not risk it. Anyway, Conrad Billings, you're fine as you are now, and I guess you can sit in... No, it doesn't really matter. You don't need a stance. And you are in the same position, though you'll eventually become an actual army leader, so I think you will want to start channeling. We'll have to take that away from you eventually as well. Alright, and the rest of that looks good. Alright, so skip building upgrade available and outpost, and we'll hold on to the rest of the money for now and turn. Yeah, the enemy did spot that failed to spot our ambush. Well done, Karl. You, I honestly wasn't expecting that to succeed, but I'm happy that it did. Scepter of Stability. It's okay. It's not great, but it's I think I'll take the replenishment. It's not much, but yeah, take the replenish. Alright, let's see what the game offers us for Confederation. Enemy killed in battle, just as our public order got fixed. Scepter Razor Standard, yes. Alright, not for you, for Karl. What? Yes, that's going to Karl. And Disciplinarian, consider Confederation. I do consider Confederation. And... Huh. I don't remember how to do it directly. I assumed that it via an Emperor's decree. Oh, okay, so it doesn't force us into it. Oh, that's great. I was worried that it would immediately force us into it, but since that's not the case... Oh. Confederate target 10 fealty Elector. Okay, well, we're nowhere near that. You know what? I'm very happy about that. I really didn't want to deal with the public order issue again. And, well, we'll get there eventually. And then, at least that way, we'll actually get the choice of grabbing Boris, most likely. Hopefully by then, this situation is a little bit more fixed. And, well, actually... Karlberg would also be... Well, Karlberg would be even better. A, because it's richer. B, because it's got some really nice stuff. C, because it's even more contiguous than Boris's territory is. Certainly something to consider. But anyway, Karl, I would like you to proceed to the Black Pit. And you know what? I think you're just going to sit in Gorcel. I think you... Okay, what do you have again? You have defensive, okay, which is decent, but I don't really care about it. You are going to trade the free company to this guy. You guys are going to go die, because I hate archers. And yes, I know we could have transformed them into crossbows, but we're not doing so. You're going to sit out here in Fort Solace, out of which you will generate some artillery for Karl, while Adalbert will follow him. And should probably actually be in march stance. Next turn, we're going to send Karl towards the Black Pit. We'll want to wipe it out and then trade its territory to Karlberg. Alright, that I'm pretty reasonably happy about. Ah, there we go. Public order is rising once more. Alright, let's check Diplo, which we didn't do last turn. We got the... okay, I don't really care for these guys. Well, we're not going to be taking marches of Karun, most likely. They won't be happy if we attack these guys, but, oh, we can non-aggress with them right now, I guess. Go for it. It's fine. Doesn't really do anything for us, but it also doesn't really do anything against us. Stirland is willing to go Defensive Alliance, Westerland is willing to go Defensive Alliance, and from those two, I think I am kind of willing to steal a little bit of cash, so we'll do this. Defensive Alliance... It's also, once again, not just because of the cash stealies, but also because it gives us the ability to... A moment. Westerland. Are we able to actually confederate you?
Of course.
I just realized I may have made a mistake in reviving you, because, well... Actually, I just want to double check. Unify. Army or settlement. Okay, good. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a faction that you see on this list, which means it works fine. Then we are free to ally defensively, because I was just wondering whether we would have to kill them off, but it looks like we're okay. Defensive Alliance, get the extra XP, get a little bit of extra money. And there we go. And that's 4 allies now, I gotta double check whether there has to be military allies or any kind of allies, because if it's a 4, that's an extra 40% XP gain for all of our characters faction-wide, thanks to Karl's bonuses, and that's pretty good. Anyway, metal shifting for you, and now we save points through towards Tempered Aura, and the rest of this is okay. Next up, we got Dolph, who could hit Torpin, though it looks like there might actually be a full stack here, Ooh, and it's probably their their capital is /scratch deep, but it is a walled settlement, most likely. You don't have artillery, and you don't have an easy way to kill those guys off. What can we build here out of curiosity? Maybe it's better to take at least a couple of turns, get a couple of outriders, for example. Can you recruit cheaper, I wonder? You cannot. We could actually get you reassuring. No, we could get you leader of renown to make you recruit cheaper. help you recruit while you're not leading anybody. Though, frankly, at 20 armor and 20 speed, you might actually be a better lord for this army. At least for now. Yes, this guy does significantly buff the range units, including with extra range and stuff, but again, it's 20 armor in the early game, especially against Skaven. You, however, would not be able to reach Torpin, so I will move you here. We'll get a couple of Pistoliers. I don't like how expensive they are, but it's fighting Skaven, and fighting Skaven means having to chase down a lot of enemies, and we're just going to have to deal with it. Otherwise, we got Altdorf, which should be ready to upgrade these things. The ports will give us additional money and stuff, so I guess for the next turn we're going to switch back Council Burgomeisters for you. Eilhart, I don't care enough about you to upgrade you, so we're going to ignore you. This place, however, we are not. We are going to grab the Weaving House, and then we are going to upgrade the village. And we can even start collecting the money. Not much, but every little bit counts right now. Ubersreich. Ah, yes. Okay, so this costs 3.2k, so we're not ready for it as yet, but the tap room... Well, considering we're not collecting money... Wait, does the Red Moon Inn generate any cash? It does not. Adds walls to the settlement, but it is already a walled settlement. Neat, but anyway, I guess we'll ignore it for now because I don't want to pay for it. And oh, it looks like it was Durthu that took out Karakazgaraz, which is fine. Alright, let's end the turn again. I want to see if we can reach the Black Pit. Alright, what do we have here? Historically, the region of Kuttenholz has been ruled over by Middenland, but is currently under the control of the Elector Count of another state. Middenland's rightful Elector Count, Boris Stodbringer, has asked for your help in returning the city-state to his rule immediately. So, one of the annoying things about this is I really wish I could see where this region exactly is. I assume that it's an extra region that shouldn't belong to these guys. You can't even click on the map to see where it is. This is really not helpful. I guess if we allow the expansion, it'll pop Middenland up by 1, and it'll bring Karlberg up to 9. Yeah, I think we'll do this for now. Allow the expansion. Kuttenholz. Just out of curiosity, where is Kuttenholz? Oh, it's here. Alright, so it does make sense that he wanted it back. But the reason for this is we are probably going to try to grab Karlberg next, and this keeps them at 10, even if Boris is now 9. That's fine. Oh, damn, you know what? Ambusher discovered Kazrak. I'd actually like to see where exactly he is. Hey, another unusual location, Helmgart. At Helmgart, what do we have here? Dwarf Mineshaft, income from all buildings, local region owner. Is this local from all buildings? Is this faction-wide or is this here? Oh man, you know what? Losing this would be really bad then. If it is in fact faction-wide. Damn, we're gonna have to invest in that building. But it is what it is. Anyway, let's see. Karl, you cannot reach Black Pit. Alright, well, I was hoping that we could, but since we can't, I think, folks, this is where I'm going to call the episode. It's certainly already going long, and this seems like the good place to end it. We achieved a fair bit. We've got some great battles against the orcs here, and we've got the newly renamed SIGMARSHs, or SIGMARSH, out of Marienburg. Next episode, we will wipe out the Black Pit and look towards wiping out the orcs and maybe Kazrak. Oh, right. Wiping out Kazrak as well, who is... Excuse me? Oh, he's here. Oh, wow. Whoa. I'm glad I checked this, because this means we should not attack the Skaven. We should move the city north with you, because Kazrak might pop in and raise it. Damn. Sneaky Beastmen. But anyway, we'll deal with that next time, and since we have to wait to confederate for a fair bit, as in we have to rack up a fair bit of prestige, which I like, a very nice system in that way, minus that annoying thing where we can't see the settlement, what I would like to do next turn is probably end a few turns, help our territory grow, increase that income, and thus allow ourselves to build some extra troops that we don't have, and maybe recruit a few of these guys. We do have the Bordermen and the Imperial Foot available, and we need to power up Karl's army and getting ready for our contest, our inevitable contest with Kazrak. Anyway, more Karl to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes and the double on the weekend. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.